Welcome to my fantasy football podcast, y'all. This is Cozmo. Super excited to have you if you're watching. We got a lot to get into, a lot of storylines, a lot of things that we thought were going to happen week one. Kind of covered it in my Monday episode of my recap for the weekend. But there is a lot of things developing this week, especially injury-wise, player progressions, things that we were thinking would happen last week that we wouldn't realize would happen by Wednesday of week two. I'm super excited, man. Big games this week, starting tonight, Thursday. We got the Commanders and we got the freaking Packers, man. Packers are on fire, man. I gotta say the Commanders are too. The Commanders are coming off an NFC trip. Packers just playing lights out the other night, though. But they didn't play that great of a team, so we go. They did. The Detroit Lions look good, but at the same time, they just didn't play a great game. Commanders didn't play a good team either, so you're going to have to put these two teams up. We got a 3.5 line here. We're going to get into which way I'm going to go on that. But on this game, man, I got to say that the Packers, they got the offensive line issues. They had two guys go out in the last half of the game. You really got to account for that, man. Those big guys up front, if they're not protecting Jordan Love, he does not look that good. We know that Jordan Love needs to throw the ball for them to be efficient. And if, that's why they bring in, the backups to get these guys running. They'll bring in the backup quarterback to run in the ball at the goal line if they really need to. But for Jordan Love to be efficient, he needs to be passing, and those offensive line guys just aren't there. Commanders 3.5 there. I think I'm going to take that. Let's go ahead and lock in that pick here. I got all my picks up here for the week. We can kind of just jump into Sunday too. Browns, Ravens. This is a big spread, so this is something I got to be careful of. These guys hung in with Cincinnati, a very efficient offense. I don't think I can give the Ravens 11.5 points here, although they might have something to prove. That's just a hard spread here, man. The Browns they didn't look as bad as they usually do. And 12 points to cover is a huge one. So you know what? I'm taking the Browns here too, man. They're playing in Baltimore. Oh yeah, I gotta take the Browns here, man. I just don't think 12 points is a hard cover here. The Browns are gonna hang in there. It might even be a 7-point game. Bengals, Jaguars here. I think the Bengals, though, they have something to prove. If Jamar Chase does not step up this week, then there's going to be a lot of questions flying around. Like, why did they pay him and T. Higgins before they paid Trey Hendrickson? They waited till August to pay Trey Hendrickson. They kept this guy in contract talks, made him look like a fool on all these interviews, talking about, hey, man, I'm just sitting here waiting. I would love to be in Cincinnati. Great place, great organization, but they just don't want to pay me, even though I've gotten the most sacks in the last 2 years. Craziness. So I got to give my boys, the Bengals, some credit here. Jaguars, they looked good against the Panthers, but this is a different team, man. I think I got to go with the Bengals here. They're playing in Ohio. Burrow's got to turn up. Cowboys, Giants here. I actually really like the Cowboys in this game. The Giants got blown out last week. I could expect them to do that again. They have no clue who's playing quarterback. That's just iffy in the beginning. I'd take a team by 10 points if they didn't know who was playing quarterback. Cowboys looked like a really good team. Their defense is unstoppable. They looked really good against the Eagles. Not unstoppable in the fact that they couldn't stop the Eagles, but the Eagles are a great offense, and they looked pretty good against them. So I got to give the Cowboys 6.5 here. I'll take them by a touchdown. Bears, Lions. Okay. I've got some thick opinions for this game, folks. I really like the Bears here. Watching Caleb Williams play the other night, Ben Johnson, I think it's going to take a while. It took Jared Goff about 6 games to piece it together. With Ben Johnson, I think it'll take the same with Caleb Williams. I do think that Ben Johnson knows the Lions a lot better than they know themselves. It was evident week 1 when the Lions didn't know who they were. Gibbs was the only person who did anything on the team, and that's just because he's an athlete. I got to take the Bears. They're going to give them 6 points. They might even win this game. I do have money on them to win the game because the odds are low on them. And I think that's a couple bucks to win a couple more. I'll take that. So right here, Bears, Lions. I like the Bears 5.5. Patriots, Dolphins, 1.5 to the Dolphins. They gave them 1.5 to the Colts last week. I really got to give the Dolphins this one. They're playing in Miami. They have a big chip on their shoulder. The Patriots, it looks like Mac forgot that he knew how to run. But on the Dolphins, I think that Tua, Tyreek, A-Chain, they can really get it together. But the only thing I'm worried about is that Vrabel can coach better than Mike McDaniels. Vrabel has a pretty good history of being able to coach on the fly. And that's something that's really going to need to happen here because both of these teams just are shot in the leg, don't really know what's going on. And they're going to have to recover here. So this is going to be, I would say, a cool game to watch, actually. Because although it's two teams that you might think aren't in the top caliber of the league, these are going to be two teams that are going to be having a dogfight, especially at a 1.5 spread. That means that Vegas doesn't know who's going to win. But I got to give it to the Dolphins here. Just so much more bounce back potential for them. So let's give it to the Dolphins. Saints, 49ers here. My thing with the 49ers, I don't know if Brock Purdy's playing. I don't know if George Kittle's Actually, George Kittle's not playing. He's on IR. 49ers injury. Curtis Rourke, their backup quarterback's out with a knee. Brandon Ayuk, ACL. Demarcus Robinson, suspension. Offensive tackle, suspension. They got a linebacker out. Purdy's doubtful. Jawan Jennings questionable. Oh yeah, he went out in the fourth quarter. And with like 10 other guys on the IR. I don't know. Saints, they have Taysom Hill out, but they looked okay last week. And they're giving them how many points? 4.5. In Saints, in New Orleans. Let's take the Saints here. You almost have to. I like the Saints a lot, just as a second team. So we're going to take the Saints here. Bills, Jets. 6.5 points, and Justin Fields looks so good. Josh Allen only looked good in the fourth quarter. In the last 5 minutes, actually. He looked good the whole game, but he shined in the last 5 minutes. He was just putting it out there, giving them the ball. But the Jets look dang good. This is a divisional matchup. They're playing at the Jets' home field. This might be a sleeper game, man. But, the Bills, I just feel like they have something to prove. They might have to put it on a team. But I feel like they play like the Chiefs. They just play at the other level of the team they're playing. 6.5 points. Let's just give it to the Bills, man. Josh Allen. Oh, wait. Injuries. I saw that James Cook was questionable. And Tyler Bass is still out. Jets. Let's give it to the Jets here. 6.5. Got some sleeper picks this week, but I'm really counting on it. Jets, 6.5. Steelers, Seahawks. I really like the Steelers here, man. Seahawks just didn't look great. I think they really got to figure it out. Just all around. No one's getting cooked or cupped the ball, and the defense just wasn't who they usually are. Steelers looked really good last week. Aaron Rodgers' defense is always good for the Steelers. Mike Tomlin knows what he's doing every year. So Steelers for sure. Rams, Titans here. I really like the Rams, especially by 5.5 points. They played a tremendous game of defense last week against the Texans, and they're going to have to do it again against a poor offense, and I think they can do that. Rams were actually one of my favorite teams out of this last week. The Texans were great, so I'm going to have to give the Rams 5.5 here. I like that. Panthers, Cardinals. Oh my gosh, now I'm going back to this freaking Bills-Jets game. Let's go with the Bills. I like the Bills. Bills. 6.5. Panthers, Cardinals. This is a freaking trap game here, man. They're playing in Arizona. Let's give it to the Cardinals. They looked pretty good last week against the Saints. Broncos, Colts, man. This will be a great game, man. I got to give it to the Colts here if they're going to give them 2.5 points. Danny Dimes looked great. Jonathan Taylor's looking good. The offensive line, I went back and watched it, the game, play-by-play. Colts offensive line, man, just setting the guy up the whole game. It's something that Danny Dimes hasn't had when he was in the Giants. And this is going to show that he might be a good quarterback, man. The Colts, I got to give it to him here. And Bo Nix just doesn't look like he can do it. He's having a sophomore slump right now. Eagles, Chiefs. Ooh. I'm going to be at this game. I'm going to actually be doing a little live commentary of this game, taking some videos, telling you all what I think while I'm going through the game. Because usually it's a roller coaster. Man, and with everybody picking the Eagles here, Chiefs are just so banged up, man. And if Drew Tranquill's still questionable, Trey Smith's questionable. Ouch, man. Landon Dickerson is questionable, though. I saw that. I think Chiefs might get after these guys, man. I'm going to give Chiefs 1.5, man. As a fan, and just someone... I lost all my picks. We had Commanders. We had Browns. We had Bengals. We had Cowboys. We had Lions. Nope, we had the Bears. We had the Dolphins. And we had the Saints. And we had the Jets. And we had the Steelers. And we had the Rams. Nope, we changed that. Back to the Bills. We had the Cardinals. And the Colts. Okay. I'm going to save this before I lose all of them again. Chiefs, 1.5, man. I got to give it to them. I think this is going to be a good game, though. Probably the game of the week. That might be a little biased, but I think that'll be a crazy one. Falcons, Vikings. Falcons looked really good last week with Penix. Vikings only figured it out in the fourth quarter, which makes me think that they might know what they're doing, but it just looked like a slow team last week, especially playing. They're going to be playing in Minneapolis. I like the Falcons here, though, man. I think they really can put some points on it. And with the 4.5 spread, that gives them some room to lose by a little bit. Buccaneers, Texans here. I really like the Bucs here, man. I don't know why they're not favored, but I think they can do it. Baker's insane. The Texans defense looked really good last week, but this is all you can really do. All right, Chargers, Raiders, primetime Monday night, man. Good coaches. Pete Carroll, John Harbaugh. We talked about them last week. I think that these guys are going to be. This will be a fun game too. This could be possibly to be the game of the week too. I just think is like showing people what the AFC West is about. Really good football, man. It's going to go on. We got some really good pickups here. I got Trey Tucker picked up from the Raiders in a couple leagues. I think he could really be a big output here. Rookie wide receiver, especially if Brock Bowers goes down. But I think the Chargers are going to take this one, man. Chargers put it on the Chiefs, then they can put it on the Raiders for sure. Hopping over here into kind of my fantasy segment, I wanted to get into my waiver picks. In my larger league, I did not pick up any waivers. You might notice I have Brock Bowers and Tyler Bass, and you might be wondering, why aren't you switching Tyler Bass out? Well, this league has a transaction fee, and if Will Ricard is going to produce till week 6 and Tyler Bass might come back in week 5, then I'm going to wait till week 5 to make this decision. There's no need to go out and get a kicker now when I could wait till maybe week 4 or 5. And if I do go get another kicker, I want to go get a guy who is just insane right now. Some guy who's just on fire. So I'm just going to wait to make that decision. Not in a rush to do that. I also have Brock Bowers, who's injured. I'm going to make a pickup for him, but I just wanted to see what his status was because they've not been really releasing actual information about what it's detailing. They're just saying, hey, he's questionable day by day. So if it's going to be serious, if he doesn't play, then I'm gonna take him out and trade him because there are a lot of players to be picked up in this league. But you know, I'm not going to make that decision yet because it does cost money to make those decisions in this league. But over here, I mean, there's obviously some great picks ups here. I mean, Jalen Naylor would be a great one. Calvin Austin would be a good one. Michael Pittman would be a great pick. I mean, especially if he does a great week this week. But my team's set for now. I think I'm going to have a good week in here. Jamar Chase, he needs to have a bounce back. Emeka Egbuka, he's going to have a good week. And Zay Flowers, they're playing Cleveland, so he can at least have a consistent one. He had almost 25 points last week out of the blue. So I like that. Hopping on over in one of my other leagues, this one is a really nice waiver pickup. I had the good defensive here. I was talking about Trey Tucker that I picked up in a few leagues. This is one of them. Wide receiver from Vegas, man. I mean, he had 2 catches, 56 yards, a touchdown. One of those was for 26 yards on the first drive of the game. So that's obviously game planned in. This isn't stuff that's happening towards the end of the game when they're up by a little bit. He's actually producing for their team. I also got Pete Warner for the Saints. He had like 9 tackles and a sack this past weekend. Just absolute output, especially for fantasy. So I'm going to take that. And then Jordan Lewis, cornerback for Jacksonville. I mean, he had a freaking interception, a fumble recovery, and 5 tackles. So actually I didn't pick him up, but I wish I could have got him. That would have been a crazy pickup. It puts the pigs into end zone. He picked them up. He's actually the highest scorer last week. This guy had some really good waiver picks. I might have to trade with this guy because I want to take all his players. Other than that, in one of my other leagues, I don't know why nobody picked up waivers in here. This is a sizable money league. This isn't like no money, no chump change. They let me get Dylan Sampson from Cleveland, who obviously is their number 1 running back now. Quentin Johnson from the Chargers, Justin Fields from the Jets, and then I got Trey Tucker in this league too. I did drop my defensive backup and my kicker backup. That's only in case Trey Tucker or Quentin Johnson ends up, not producing. That's easy to just make a swap out here. No transaction fees in this league, so we're safe on that front. Over here, there was a lot of pickups in this league. A lot of people didn't get who they wanted, it looks like. A lot of Dylan Sampsons and Quentin Johnsons didn't get picked up, but I got Jake Tungs from tight end from San Francisco. If Kittle's going to be out and they run the offense a little bit through him, they're going to have to put a little Jake Tungs action in there. So I got him. He's going to be on my bench for now. I moved Noah Fant up to my starting roster in this league, so I think that we'll be okay on the tight end spot. I also got Justin Fields for quarterback, and I dropped Caleb Williams. I just think between the two, I'd rather have Justin Fields. They look like they're running the ball a lot more through him. Caleb is more like a pass-first, scramble if necessary offense, but Justin Fields is like a true running quarterback. I love his play style for fantasy. Hopping into my teams on a couple of these leagues. We'll just go to my team right here, actually. Over here, I'm starting Justin Fields this week. I have Brock Purdy on the bench just because he's doubtful. I have Saquon, James Cook. It looks like they moved the designation off James Cook this week. He was limited on Wednesday, but he is a full participant in the walkthrough. So we'll see what's going on there. But I don't really have a crazy backup running back. I have Kareem Hunt, Brendan Allen, Nick Chubb, but I don't think that that's any output that can actually surpass James Cook at least. All those guys are kind of fighting for a number 1 spot besides Nick Chubb, but he just hasn't been able to do much. Nico Collins needs to pop out this week. Zay Flowers needs to have a great week. Michael Pittman and Devontae, really counting on these guys. I moved Pittman in instead of Jackson Smith. I just think Pittsburgh's defense is pretty good. So that's a lot of uphill battle for him to just recover off this last week too. Looking at this league, I got some great pickups in here, and I have a strong team. I feel like Jay Fields, James Cook, Kenneth Walker, Amon. And then Garrett Wilson had a great week last week at fantasy. I think he had 22.5 points last week. Most out of all my receivers, which was kind of impressive. So I really like that. I'm thinking about moving Quentin Johnson up to the starting role. But I do like Amon versus Chicago, and I like Puka versus Tennessee. So just kind of tough decisions to make there, but I just don't think Quentin Johnson can do exactly what he did last week if he's fighting over targets. But he's obviously a great person to have on your bench. Other than that, my team here, this is going to be the defensive league, the one with all the defensive players in it. I need to go get a defensive player. Reed Blankenship, I just don't think he is going to do it. He only had 4.5 points last week. That's not very good. Nolan Smith, too. I don't know really what was up with the Eagles' defensive individuals last week, but just those two didn't have great weeks. Other than that, great players all over here. I mean, my receiving is stacked. Cortland Sutton, Puka, Debo, Emeka Buka. I mean, this is like a Mickey Mouse league, you think. But no, this is an 18-person league. I don't know how I have all these good receivers. Jameis Williams, Quentin Johnson, all on the bench down here. So yeah, this should be a good week on fantasy-wise. I'm really looking forward to it. My matchups are pretty favorable. I'm just going to go look at kind of what the projections are here. 52% favorite in my big money league. Right over here in that larger league, I am projected for 163, just 1 point over him. Over here, I am projected 1 point under Javon in this league. Yep, projected 1 point under. And in this league, I'm projected against the 2026 fantasy winner. I'm projected 4 points less than. He's got JD, Tyrone, Javonte Adams, Puka, Cortland Sutton, Brock Bowers. Yeah. All right. Well, let's see where that takes us. I wanted to hop back in here. I've been using this NFL Pro Plus so much lately. I just think it's so helpful for me reviewing these games, and just like seeing how the information's presented is just so easy to see here. Just like, especially with like betting and stuff. I mean, just usually you have to kind of click through teams and see, and like to get more information about them, but everything's right here. It's all here. The spreads, the money lines, over, under, time, date, where it's at, where it's going to be broadcasted at, which it all matters. And then when you click on it, you're right in the game, and you see who does what, outlooks for players. I just think this is just such a good tool, especially if you're going to be, in a bunch of fantasy leagues or betting. This is just a great way to organize your information. Over here, I've got some bets pulled up here. These are going to be from, let me get you guys my podcast recordings. This is going to be for for this week right now. This does have some of my larger bets on them too. But we're just going to kind of be reviewing these. I got a prize picks for $15 to pay $132. Austin Eckler under 9 fantasy points. Bill Krowski Merritt over 38.5 yards. I feel like Austin Eckler's going to take a step back here and Bill's going to step up. I feel like that's a good kind of outlook for the Commanders game. And then we have Josh Jacobs with a touchdown, and then Matt Gay, a good kicker with over 7.5 fantasy. I feel like if you got the kickers at about 7.5, you can get them over on the fantasy score, because they pick up extra points for kicking those long field goals. And I've seen Matt Gay do a couple of those. Right here, we also have Matt Gay over 7.5 fantasy. Like I said, I like these picks here. And then Travis Kelce over 1 receiving yards. This is kind of a bonus pick, but we got $10 to pay for 30. So Matt Gay just needs to do his thing there. Travis Kelce will get 1 receiving yards. Over here, we got Debo higher than 54.5 receiving, and J Love with over 227 receiving. 10 to pay out 30. I like a 3 times multiplier on that one. Jordan Daniels is really the only thing I'm worried about here, but I feel like on a primetime game, he's really going to try to show out as long as he can be protected in the pocket. I think they're going to win, but it's going to be like by 2 points. I really do. And then Magnus, I have over 6.5 kicking points. This is just regular kicking points. This is not fantasy. And then Matt Gay over 6.5, $8 to pay out 22. I also have my larger bets here. This is a prediction markets. So we have Chicago at Detroit. Yes, I picked Chicago. $10 right there. Pays 70 cents on the dollar. We got my Ryder Cup boys up here. That's a little golf betting. And then we placed a bet for Chiefs over 7.5 wins. That pays out about 13 cents on the dollar over the payment. We have Dallas at New York, or we have New York at Dallas this weekend, $10 on that. I have Jacksonville at Cincinnati, $10 for Jacksonville, and then I have $10 for Cleveland at Baltimore, $10 for Tampa Bay at Houston as well. My larger bets for the AFC West championships are both for the Chiefs. Those will pay out a lot more on the dollar, but those could potentially be just sellouts at the end of the year, maybe not total cash outs. Right here, we have some of my larger ones. I have the Green Bay money line. This is what I'm talking about when I say I think Green Bay is going to win, but I don't think they're going to cover. I think they could win by just a couple points here. 15 to pay out 23. Jaden Daniels, 2 touchdowns, $10 to pay out 23. Little odds booster on this one. I really like that pick. And then Deebo Samuels anytime, $5 to pay out 16. I like that. Matthew Golden, a receiver out of Green Bay. He's a rookie. He had some really good college career. He kind of played every position, tight end, running back, receiver, everywhere. A little bit of under center quarterback too. They really utilized him towards the end of the game. And these rookie players, once they get developed after a few games, they start getting the ball more. I think they'll give him the ball twice. They did last week. And then Terry McLaurin over 35 yards. This is a good pick right here. $10 to pay 20. We'll check in with those this weekend on Monday. See how we do on those. And in the meantime, man, I just want to point out, comment if you have feedback, or if you're thinking about like, hey, this would be good in your podcast, or hey, I think that you could do this with your fantasy team, or, this player isn't doing what you think he is. Let me know. I'd love to hear some feedback. I'll probably reply to you. I have very strong opinions. I have no shame in that. But I'm really happy that this has been something that I've been able to do lately. It's kind of something that I've said this the last 2 episodes. It's something that I've thought about for a while just because I love football, and I need an outlet to talk about it. And this is a great way to do it. So if you've watched this far, shout out to you, man. Much love. Appreciate you all. And I'll see you on Monday, man. And I hope you all are making some money, because I'm not.